Michael Walzer gave a different theory of justice in response to Rawls' theory of justice. He gave his theory in this book, Spheres of Justice, a defense of pluralism and equality, 1983. How is this different from Rawls' theory? It works out like this. Rawls was giving a theory for all social goods or any social good. He is suggesting a particular distribution for any social good. By social good, we mean it can be money, it can be power, or it can be status, whatever. Rawls proposed liberties should be given first preference, and without disturbing the liberties, suggested distribution is maximum for all the goods. But Walzer proposes something different. Walzer's proposal is first he agrees liberties are important, and Walzer also agrees that equality is important. But his difference or his innovation is about the way he looks at social goods. His proposal is that any good will be distributed in a particular way. Money, power, or say status will be distributed in the society in one particular way. Money will be distributed in one way, power will be distributed another way, status will be distributed another way. Like that, other social goods will be distributed, and Walzer listed around 11 of them. And around a social good, there is a sphere. This is money sphere, power sphere, status sphere. And in each sphere, there is a particular kind of distribution, and there may be some inequality. There may be some inequality. Um, but primary concern of Walzer is not about distribution within a sphere, distribution within a sphere, within a sphere. Unlike Rawls. Concern of Walzer is that one sphere should not impact another sphere. For example, money sphere should not impact power sphere. That is, those who have money here, lot of in this distribution, should not impact this sphere so that they will get power here. Those who don't have money at the bottom, because of that, they should not be powerless. So Walzer wants a kind of autonomy of these spheres. It means there is some inequality here, some inequality here, some inequality here. But as long as one sphere is not impacting the other, that is, money is not buying power and money and power are not buying education, Walzer says you are creating a reasonably just society. Walzer defines autonomy across the spheres as justice, and this he calls complex equality. Why complex equality? Because people thought of equality along one variable. For example, economic equality is about equality along one variable, and they struggle to find out how to create such systems. But Walzer thinks that that thinking in terms of one variable is not good, whereas if the society's resources are distributed in a different way across different variables, it means that inequality in one sphere is not leading to inequality in another sphere and then another sphere. Then he says there is a complex equality. So in essence, he is saying that if money can't buy power, status and love and education and things like that, then it is a just society. So this is definitely an unusual way of looking at justice. Now let us see what he examine it in his own words. Justice for Walzer is relative to the social meanings, and a given society is just if its substantive life is lived in a way that is faithful to the shared understanding of its members. in this proposal, Walzer is proposing relativism. So, for example, which social good is more important depends upon the society. Which social good is more important, or what kinds of goods are regarded valuable depends on the society. So, society has its own way of valuing things. So, Walzer is giving some relativism to society's priorities. This is one aspect. And next he said, allocation of goods will be achieved according to the principle of different goods to different companies of men and women for different reasons and in accordance with different procedures. I mean, different goods to different, I mean, there is a lot of difference in which how in a sphere resources are distributed, and that can be a matter of culture. The book gives 11 spheres. What are they? Membership in a community is one sphere, security and welfare, money and commodities, office, hard work, free time, education, kinship and love, divine grace, recognition and political power. You can see some are very important like money, power, security. So, he allotted social goods into 11 spheres, and these 11 spheres have different ways of distributing things, not necessarily maximin or egalitarian. There are going to be some inequalities in this distribution. But to Walzer, the relationship across these spheres is of his concern. He says, this is what complex equality is. What is complex equality? In formal terms, complex equality means that to citizens standing in one sphere or with regard to one social good can be undercut by his standing in some other sphere with regard to some other good. So, it means if you have money, you can't buy power. So, he wants to achieve complex egalitarian society, which has this complex equality. Justice is to narrow the range within which particular goods are convertible into power in other spheres. Small inequalities will remain, but inequality will not be multiplied through the conversion process. So, when he is proposing autonomy of the spheres, he doesn't want outcomes in one sphere affect the outcomes in other spheres. It means they cannot be converted into another sphere. Power will not be converted into money, or money will not be converted into power. And he makes some statements about various social goods. Money. Money is inappropriate in the sphere of ecclesiastical office. It is an intrusion from another sphere. So, in religious matters, money is inappropriate. In the same way, money is inappropriate regarding many matters, and it should be used only to buy goods and nothing more. And definitely should not buy power. He says in polity, all political goods have to be deposited outside: weapons, wallets, titles, degrees. Wallet should have no role in politics, which means opposite to role of money in politics. Weapons should have no role, which means opposite to criminalization of politics. So, money into politics or criminalization into politics, he is looking at one sphere impacting the other sphere. They may appear obvious, but he is looking at what is obvious in a new light. But does it help? We will see. Education also is like this. The crucial distributive problem in the sphere of education is to make children commoners of learning without destroying what is uncommon about them, their social as well as genetic particularity. Make children commoners of learning. So everybody is equal in a school or in access to education. Not that the rich people can get better education. So that education will not reproduce other inequalities. So education becomes a chance for something new. So what he is saying is different spheres not impacting the other one. But the question is, what do you do? What do you do? How do you prevent? How to prevent? Walzer doesn't think he has a major answer to that. He simply says, I won't try to describe how we might go about creating such a society. The description is hard enough. So that's what he said about how to create such a society of complex equality. But does this mean that he is useless? I don't think so. Why? Because first of all, it gives a new way to look at things, to look at injustice. A new way to look at injustice. And second, we may be able to judge how to create a better distribution within a sphere. For example, education is not to be impacted by money and power. That is a sphere of education. Politics not to be impacted by money. That is one. And in recent years, Walzer is saying about how do you create such an economic system where money doesn't buy other things, money buys only the commodities. Here he has certain very interesting observations to make. He said, for example, in political system, we have separation of powers. Okay, and we have many provisions to avoid misuse of power. But then he asks, what do we have for an economic system? Do we have any laws to say that money not to be used for this purpose? Okay. For example, maybe for very high-end healthcare, that is an example Walzer gives. It means there should be restrictions on what money can do, and also restrictions on amount, like you have restrictions on amount of power. So the basic point is, whereas everybody is looking at income inequalities like this, and justice is defined in terms of reduction of inequalities, Walzer is looking at what money can do in other areas. So it is not the amount of money that is a matter of injustice, it is about what the money is able to do is a matter of injustice. So if you try to create certain things, certain procedures, like the way you created systems of to prevent abuse of power, we should also create systems in which money will be abused. Money should be used for right purpose. It should not buy things anything that the society values. Money should be used only for a specific purpose, like power should be used only for specific purposes. So it may help us to give an insight, and it may also help us to see how to protect a system of distribution in a sphere, or how to reform capitalism. So definitely this is a unusual and innovative way to look at things, and also helpful. Not that you have answers to all the problems, but it simply helps to think in a new way, plus at certain places this perspective can answer certain crucial questions. So